right, we are back. Tim.
Hello, everyone.
Tim is in for Mark, a.k.a. Loverboy. If anybody wants to go onto the Facebook page, tag Mark on anything and just put hashtag Loverboy.
Go to the right place.
Mark is in Paris. Once again, for those who are keeping up with Mark's romantic escapades. Having a good time. He texted me the other day. He was at Fnac.
Oh.
For people who don't know, Fnac, F-N-A-C, all lowercase, is a chain of stores in France that is the coolest place to hang out. It's kind of more 80s deco than anything else now. It's kind of dated. But Fnac has, CDs and movies and books and comic books. And
like a Wacko?
You know what?
Wacko
It's like
in Westwood. Used to be in Westwood.
No,
Fnac
Fnac is like a camera store crossed with a Best Buy, crossed with a Virgin Megastore, crossed with a Barnes and Noble.
Interesting.
It's a cool place. I used to hang out there for hours. Anyway, Mark was there looking for French Blu-rays, and he texted me the picture of it. It's the one near the Montmartre train station, and he was confused as to what would or would not play and what region.
Oh, the region code thing.
Yeah, well, the region code, because it's A and B. It's not 1 and 2 and 3. It's when you get to Blu-ray, it's letters, and it's a little weird because most of the things are B, but they will play in A if it says all region.
Mm.
But there's also it's strange because we're in region A, which is all of North and South America, and I think Japan and Hong Kong. But then I think it's only there's one country in South America that's actually region B, and I think it's
probably the
Dutch.
Venezuelans.
I think it's Dutch Guiana.
Oh,
I think it's Dutch Guiana that is. Yeah. For some strange, weird. Anyway,
being all Euro.
Yeah, but most of the French stuff tends to be region A and B compatible because they have Martinique and Guadeloupe and Quebec, and so there are a lot of French
you
areas
would have thought
here.
Whenever it was that we started moving from an analog world into the digital world, particularly in broadcast television. Remember when we went from NTSC and all that stuff here to digital? You would have thought that would have. I know it has to do with currents and things like that, but you would have thought that it would have brought everything into a sort of worldwide uniformity, being that it was all just digital anyway.
It'll have to be eventually because. Netflix and Amazon are just tearing that all apart.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah,
they're tearing it apart. I mean, anything a new show here is a new show in Japan, is a new show in Russia. We talked about this, I think, maybe a couple months ago. But what's really interesting, most people when they binge watch things like Daredevil or Luke Cage or Iron Fist or whatever, you don't see the rest of the credits because it starts the next episode as soon as it ends. I would urge people, stop just for a moment. Don't just it's going to start in 5 seconds. No, hold on. Just flip that sucker back and watch the episode all the way through to the end. And you will see at the end of the credits, they will flash the credits, the principal credits in Chinese, in Spanish, in Japanese, in Italian, in German, in French. It's kind of weird. And Turkish too.
It's very, very sort of interesting. Because the reason why I didn't think that would work is because I always just assumed that each of these episodes would have been very different, edited differently for each one of these reasons. It never occurred to me that the show that I'm watching here is more or less the same as the show that they got in Turkey.
Netflix, their whole strategy now is they it's funny because Alonzo, our colleague Alonzo, who often does our Christmas expert, Lafka colleague and Christmas expert on our Christmas show. So Alonzo was complaining today on Facebook that Netflix dropped too much stuff today. This 5 came back and the Discovery, and there's like a whole bunch of things that Netflix dropped today, and it's like, and I said to him, I said, that's because Netflix doesn't want you to catch up.
Yeah.
They want to bury you in their ecosystem so you never leave. So there's so much stuff on Netflix that you have not seen that why would you ever bother going to the CW or to NBC or anything else?
It's the point of having that queue. You can put everything you've ever wanted to watch somewhere in that Netflix ecosystem on that queue. You got that queue, and you know that there's something else on that queue.
And that said, Filmstruck is slaying me as well. I was telling you earlier, Tim and I saw a screening this morning, And last night I was up till 3 in the morning because I was doing some work and then just putzing around Filmstruck, and I thought, well, let's see if there's any, they have little extras on there, like there's, Woody Allen on Ingmar Bergman. It's 7 minutes long. Yeah, it's nice. It's easy. I don't have to sit there for 2 hours. I'm not committed to 90 minutes or 2 hours. And damn it, son of a bitch, I turn on Filmstruck, and at 1 in the morning at midnight, am I really in the mood to watch Ingmar Bergman? No. Am I in the mood for neorealism? No. Am I in the mood for Jean-Pierre Melville? No. Am I in the mood for Muriel's Wedding? You better believe it. So there I was at 3 o'clock in the morning watching Muriel's Wedding, which is now on Filmstruck, and that movie just slays me. It's so funny.
Yeah. I think that was my first experience with her as an actor.
It was. That was her big debut. She'd done like a couple of shorts prior to that.
Like something Aussie, New Zealand type.
She was 21.
Type things, yeah.
She was 21. Yeah. Toni Collette. Yeah. And
right.
Rachel Griffiths was like 24 or 25.
That's true,
that was one of her first things. I mean, they both came of age on that show.
Yeah,
in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, such an insanely funny movie, but so bittersweet.
Oh, it's just and the thing that still gets me with Muriel's Wedding are the looks. So much of that movie takes place in the eyes.
Yeah.
The eyes, the looks from the other girls, the scene where she's agreeing to marry that South African swimmer who needs to switch nationalities because he wants to enter the Olympics and the apartheid and all that. And the more she talks and makes goo-goo eyes at him, the more horrified he absolutely looks. This bronze god, this god of the swimming pool, and this look of sheer terror on his face as to what he's about to get into. It's all in the eyes. It's beautiful.
You know what I meant to ask you about, though? I know we have to start the show eventually. But,
yes.
So the theatrical exhibitors, of course, are being worked over this week by the studios.
Yes.
And one of the central issues is, look, the studios. We need to be able to get these movies faster to people in their homes. We need to close that window.
Yep.
And the exhibitors are not having it.
No.
Unless they are. What do you think?
I think
unless they are, whether they want to or not, it's my real question.
There are sort of two answers. Well, there are more than two answers to this, but there are two things that I think we have to consider right now. First is that this model, the only way that they can make it work is by promising the exhibitors a piece of the pie, the piece of the overall pie.
They're asking for close to 30, or they're offering like 20 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
so it's a little weird that they don't like. Right now, they don't like the split. They keep trying to bury exhibitors on the split. Opening weekend split. We're going to, we're taking 80 and you're going to get 20 or 90-10 or whatever it is. And by the time it slides down to 50-50, nobody's in the theater anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's why exhibitors are getting squeezed. So they don't like that split. But what they are going to do is they're going to give them a larger percentage of they're going to give them a percentage of box office to begin with that they never would have had before, and DVD and Blu-ray and streaming. And we're going to kind of cut them in on the whole thing,
the entire lifeline.
I mean, it's kind of like a gangster sort of, buying somebody's silence or cooperation, or the guy on the, there's something very kind of racketeering about it.
Yeah.
And I think it has to go in that direction in a way. But here's the other thing. Everyone's going to experiment with this. Some movies really should never be in theaters. Some movies should just go straight to Netflix.
Yeah.
Or Amazon. They should just go straight streaming. They shouldn't take up space in theaters. Theaters should be a major experience. And the other thing is, the more that my living room has become a theater, the more that theaters have become like my living room. I think we're going to move back to movie palaces and movies that are worthy of palaces.
Thus the reclining seats and the cocktails and all that business.
I can turn my living room into a theater, but I can't turn my living room into a palace. That theater that's turning into my living room, I can take that theater and turn that into a palace. I can make that place really amazing. We can start to build a place where 1,100 people will gather and will go nuts for something incredible, and they'd be willing to stand in line for it. But you got to make that movie. And that's what they're not doing right now. They're not making those movies. So,
well, they thought that
I think they're going to experiment with it.
They thought that those movies were anything in IMAX 3D.
Yeah.
They assumed was one of those movies. I see IMAX is diminishing again. Not so much IMAX, but 3D.
Yeah.
IMAX is IMAX.
Yeah.
3D, that gimmick has come around for, what is it, the fourth time now? Is this
something
the fourth?
like that?
Is this the fourth generation of 3D?
Yeah.
And I see that going away. 3D TVs didn't make it.
Nope.
I got two buddies who bought those goofy things, and whatever. So 3D is not going to do it. IMAX really is not going to do it either. No. If you ask me, I think that we've got about another three or four iterations of superhero stuff to fill.
Yeah.
And then after that, what, man?
I think I'm gonna make a prediction, and I'm almost always wrong with my predictions, but I think this is gonna take about the better part of 10 years to shake out. I think it's going to take about 10 years for us to sort of see what consumers want and what
in the theater, opposed to.
And I think it's going to take about 10 years for Amazon and Netflix and whatever other companies, be it Google or Apple or whoever else decides to kind of come in and throw their weight around. I think it'll take about that long for that to all sort of shake out and for us to sort of see who's going to go to see what, who wants to see what, how. Are we going to have teenagers watching movies on their phones and 30-somethings watching them at home and 50-somethings going to the theater, or is it going to be flipped? But it's all going to still exist. It's just going to be...
It'll all still exist.
Who's going to see what movie where?
Where, exactly. That's
what
the sentence I was trying to get out. And whether or not the economies of scale in each place will support that movie existing in that place.
Yes.
Your $1.95 movie may never, ever really be able to support an actual legitimate theatrical distribution.
Yeah.
You have to have enough moviegoers to go see a $150 million movie to support a theatrical distribution. You have to
absolutely.
Have but that means you got to start picking movies that people are willing, to pay 17, 18. I imagine in 10 years, $20, $25 to go see. Once you're paying $25 a ticket. Look, dude, somebody's gonna have to sing a song, do a little dance.
Yep.
I'm gonna need all kinds of stuff to happen before I go home 3 hours from now. Anyway, I'm done. Off my high horse.
Well, I'm gonna start off. Mark's not here, so I'm gonna dig into some anime. And Tim, I'm gonna give you a break for a few minutes to catch up on a few things, and I'm going to tout some really, really cool anime this week. It's just amazing. This is the golden age of anime on DVD and Blu-ray because this stuff is not easy to see any other way. 52 episodes of Kimba the White Lion on DVD, 10 discs. This, if you don't know Kimba the White Lion, you really, really seriously need to. In the history of anime, there's sort of Astro Boy and Speed Racer and Kimba, and I don't know if there's really anything else. But this was one of the very, very first anime shows that actually took root in the U.S. for obvious reasons, because it's a white lion. Come on, look at that cute little guy.
It's ridiculous.
It's insanely cute. Kimba is just one of the cutest creatures ever. Frankly, looks a little bit more like some kind of an Australian,
like a teddy bear or something.
Yeah, or a cat. Kimba doesn't look like a lion.
She doesn't have any teeth.
Yeah, it's just too funny. But anyway, tons of other great animals here. There's a parrot and there's a baboon, and it's just very, very charming and very, very sweet. And what's also interesting about this is that you can sort of see some ideas here that bled into The Lion King.
Oh, really?
Very obviously and very directly, which I had completely forgotten about. There is lots here that clearly inspired Disney's The Lion King. And Kimba's really, really great. And the animation holds up and it's fun, and I don't think you can go wrong with that at all. There's a film that was pushed to us as well during awards season, which I think is really sharp. Did you watch Miss Hokusai?
Oh, yeah.
It was good.
Yes, it was very good.
It was really good. I mean, there was a lot of great anime.
I was going to say that, tough for it that there was so much great animation last year.
I mean, the Red Turtle, and then...
even the American films. I mean, I like Kubo and the Two Strings and Zootopia. And
My Name was the one that everyone loved, really loved in our group.
Zucchini, My Life is a Zucchini.
Yeah.
Is another outstanding film.
So Miss Hokusai is really, really great. This is from the same people that did Ghost in the Shell, which is now out in a live-action version with Scarlett Johansson, which everyone is...
Controversial.
Yeah, because she's not Asian. But anyway...
It's funny because today when I heard people talking about it, they were more upset because she's sort of like fake naked through most of the movie. And I'm like, that's the thing you're... Oh, never mind.
All right, well, anyway... This takes place in feudal Japan. The artwork is very much designed to emulate a lot of the painting, that really gentle, artwork that we associate with feudal Japan. That is always whenever you go into like a very very old Japanese restaurant or something, you see it on the walls. It's beautiful. It's very fluid, very poetic. So that's what this animation is designed to emulate, and it is really really beautiful. It is extremely delicate and very very carefully put together. And it's essentially the story. Accordingly, it's the story of an artist and the desire to be a great artist and to do great art. And what does that mean? And going into the big city, which at the time is Edo, which predates Tokyo. It's where Tokyo would eventually be established. And what you have to do. I mean, it's a wonderful story. It's really really great. Miss Hokusai, first rate all the way. And then we've also got The Betrayal Knows My Name, the complete series, which is, this gets into that mystical fantasy magic stuff that anime often does, where it really loses me. It's, they all have, every single one of these shows kind of creates their own world and their own magic and their own rules, and unless you're a diehard fan and you've really been with it from beginning and all the way to the end, it's very very hard to get a grip on. This one kind of didn't really work for me, but I know it's popular, so I'm going to cut it a lot of slack, and if somebody really loves it, let me know. Starmyu, the complete series, Starmyu. This is also in a now. By the way, Betrayal Knows My Name is DVD only. Starmyu is Blu-ray and DVD combo set. This and the next one I'm going to mention, both combo sets. Starmyu is it gets into this is of the scholastic variety, and it's about a guy who's a first year student at this academy where you you sort of learn to be don't worry about it. It's seriously, it's all kind of college politics and college theatrics, very uniquely Japanese. No reason to really particularly worry about the particulars of it unless you are into the whole scholastic, especially the collegiate scholastic stuff in Japanese anime. It's very very parochial. Not terribly interesting. So much more interesting is the female-centric Scrapped Princess complete series, also on Blu-ray and DVD. And this is a little bit kind of more mystical, but it's more accessibly mystical, which is about this girl named Pacifica Casull. I love that name. Pacifica Casull is it's like the inverse of the Luke Skywalker thing, the inverse of the Joseph Campbell stuff. She is not the savior. She's the one that's going to destroy the world. So she's on the run, right? Because the prophecy says you're the enemy of all mankind. And it's really interesting. She's referred to as the poison, and it's kind of
dark.
It's dark and it's fascinating and it's really intricate and very very well written and beautifully animated. Then there is The World's Greatest First Love. This is on DVD only and really deserves to be. The complete title is Sekaiichi Hatsukoi. I practiced that and I still mutilated it. The World's Greatest First Love. I know we've got Japanese listeners. Please be kind to me. It's not my first language or my second language. I'm trying.
You speak English and French. You can hack up a little Japanese.
I'm trying hard. But again, this is more of that collegiate stuff, and it's soap opera. It's like semi-comedic soap opera set in the Japanese collegiate and professional world. Doesn't really work for me. Hate to say, sorry to say. Aquarion Log Us, as long as we're in the whole Transformers, Get Robo, and all the rest of that stuff, impregnable suits and giant robots. Aquarion Log Us is out. This is a Blu-ray DVD combo pack. And this is part 2, comprises episodes 14 through 26. It's one of the better ones of all that particular genre. It's sort of where Robotech needed to go but didn't, so that's really cool. And then we've also got Psychic School Wars. Okay, so back to the scholastic stuff. So this is the guy who did Gunslinger Girl, and it is visually just as impressive. It's just as cool in every single way. I would almost say maybe a little bit better. This is where you mix the whole cyberpunk science fiction thing, the mystical thing, with the scholastic thing, actually kind of works. It's pretty fun. So Psychic School Wars, I would recommend that Blu-ray DVD combo pack.
Japanese kids just must have a terrible time in school. I mean, I'm so glad that I didn't have to go. I went to some tough inner city schools, but I think they sound easy. To some what these Japanese kids had to deal with.
You know what? It's life in Japan is a whole different deal, man. Yeah. I mean, it's just every time some strange new thing happens, it starts in Japan. Some new cool invention starts in Japan. People using their phones to buy cars online at an auction site, that happens in Japan. And there's something. What was this? The new thing? The $2,000 melons. Have you seen this?
No, this is new.
These are these like gourmet melons that are farmed into certain shapes. Like they will build a box, and it's like a melon that's shaped like a strawberry, a melon that's shaped like a pyramid, like these gourmet melons. But people pay like the equivalent of $2,000 for a single melon.
Grown this way, not carved this way.
No, grown this way.
Picked off the vine.
Grown. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
Brilliant.
I know. I mean, what a way to make a buck. I'd become a melon farmer in a heartbeat. Can you imagine? Good grief!
I can't imagine somebody buying a $2,000 melon. So I would see these things would miss me because
I know
I don't have that sort of an imagination.
I know.
I would call it ludicrous, and that would be it.
I know. So, boy, this is a weird one. Busou Shinkai, Armored Warrior Goddess. So, I almost don't even know where to even go with this. By the way, Tim's got TV on in the back, and I'm looking at the Muppets and Jeffrey Tambor. I have no idea what is playing on across the room.
Muppets in space, man.
Oh, is that what that?
Muppets in space. Ray Liotta's in that movie.
Haven't seen that in a long time, boy.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
Okay.
Although it's on in my house.
Anyway, so this is this is such a strange thing. This is about little tiny android women that are 6 inches high, and they're like, I mean, they're not really toys. They're androids. They're 6 inch tall android women.
Yeah.
And there you go. I just don't know. It's the strangest thing. Anyway, they're gorgeous and they're hot and they're cool and they have the obligatory mechanized suits and the whole deal. Mm-hmm. But the whole Gundam thing, it's very very Gundam inspired. But they're little tiny women. Okay.
I'm sure this.
I'll tell you who's not tiny. The not tiny women are the little cute little floozies, the little big-eyed blonde floozies in Prisma, Illya. Oh gosh, I can never do this one. Prisma, Illya, two-way Herz. No, I know that's not. These titles just always kill me. But
sometimes
you know
I think it's just a phonetic.
It must
phonetically hacking things up.
Look, it's a little bit of magic. It's a little bit of cute girls and a lot of really fun animation and some kind of silly humor. And it's anime. It is a thing. So Attack on Titan is a pretty terrific concept. The whole Attack on Titan thing has really taken off. What I'm not sure about, and maybe I'm wrong on this, is this Attack on Titan junior high thing that they've come up with, which is extremely peculiar. Email us at gods@digigods.com. Let me know if you've seen this and if you have any understanding for it, any affinity for it. The thing I always like about Attack on Titan, if you follow it, the Titans are this alien race, and they're kind of stupid, and they eat people, and there's a whole mythology to it. But Attack on Titan here is they completely reimagine the whole concept into this very strange little junior high thing, which is common in anime, but I don't know that this works. It tries to be funny where it shouldn't be funny. It tries to tie in with the whole Attack on Titan world. Seems to be kind of a It's like Mark and I make fun of this all the time. It's like with the like Baby Muppets or the junior teenage DC heroes. Yeah. Like we got to make or like Tiny Toons, right?
Toons.
Like if something
that's the first one, yeah.
If something works in an adult format, let's make them all children. I don't think that's a good idea.
Not necessarily. No. Particularly if if as children versions of the adult thing, they do all the same stuff. It's just like, no.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
It's not good.
That's crazy.
All right. So we got some Gundam stuff here. So more in the world of Gundam. I'm going to go through this real quickly because Gundam is it's Gundam. I mean, the Mobile Suit Gundam is one of the legendary anime franchises of all time. It's spawned franchises into franchises. So we have Mobile Suit Gundam
and the dance craze. Don't forget the dance craze.
The dance. Oh, thank you. Well, that's Gangnam.
I know.
Yeah.
Just
so Mobile Suit Gundam 5 or V. However you want to say it, Mobile Suit Gundam V Collection 2. Terrific animation. Really, really great. I'm far too disconnected from this world and not as fiercely attached to the narrative as some people, so a lot of this goes right over my head. So from a story standpoint, I got to kind of miss it. The whole Ligue Militaire and their all this strategy and tactics stuff that goes on and what they're fighting and why. I can't really connect to it, so I got to look at it from a purely aesthetic standpoint. And the aesthetic is great; it's really, really great. This is from Right Stuff and Sunrise, and then Mobile Suit Gundam 0083 takes place in the Universal Century, and if you kind of know a little bit of the mythology of Gundam, this is after the 1 Year War. And now the Earth Federation is kind of facing new challenges, and some interesting kind of machinations go on between the various factions here. And, you got the Zeon Thieves, and there's a lot of really, really cool stuff here. I don't think the animation here is quite as imaginative as it is in the other one, but it's still really, really good. There are 13 episodes here. And it continues to really impress me how they continue to sort of expand the Gundam mythology. It's very impressive. And just a few more here. Let me pull up these. We've got Luck and Logic, the complete series. Luck and Logic is a... Okay, so Luck and Logic is on Blu-ray and DVD combo set, and this is kind of the pantheistic, polytheistic mythology of Japan, imposed on kind of a cyberpunk background. Takes place in the it's very much like Thor, kind of in the Marvel world. It's very similar, gods coming down to Earth, and these beasts that are known as the Foreigners. It's an interesting mythology. I would be much more impressed if it were a little better animated. It's made more for kids. It's all kind of scaled down. If they made this much more adult, much more kind of like 17, 18-year-old, I think it would work better. But anyway, it's still really interesting, and I could see them going a little bit further, doing some more stuff like that. Heavy Objects Season 1 Part 2. I think we covered Season 1 Part 1, but just in case we didn't, this is a complete straight-up intergalactic war series, kind of in the vein of Star Blazers from way back, which is still one of my favorites, and it's good. It's good. The character designs are really sharp. The art direction is really sharp. I like it. I think there's a lot of room for this thing to grow. It's really, really cool. And then lastly is Steins Gate. That's Steins with a semicolon between Steins and Gate. Steins Gate. The movie, Lode Region of Deja Vu. The titles they come up with is so strange in English. I'm sure that works better in the original translation. Steins Gate is a pretty terrific series. And this all takes place in the Steins Gate world, and which is not quite like our world. Obviously, it's all very futuristic and otherworldly, and it has a certain very alien vibe to it. And I wouldn't say Starship Troopery, but it is kind of Starship Troopery. Anyway, really beautifully animated, just absolutely fantastic artwork and character designs. Really, really great. First rate. That is a Blu-ray and DVD combo pack. And if you are not familiar with Steins Gate, you should be. But this is a good standalone movie. It's a great introduction. You don't have to sort of watch anything else. So Steins Gate, the movie. Load region of deja vu. One of the best mad scientists I've ever seen in anything ever. Really fun. All right, Tim. Let's get on to some other stuff.
What do we got going on here?
You know what? Let's talk some. Here we go. Hold on. Let's do this because this is maybe the biggest thing this week, and this is what a lot of people are talking about. And I do want to get into some 4K talk for a second. So, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which won Best Costume over La La Land at the Oscars recently, and
it didn't even deserve that.
Yeah. So, Fantastic Beasts is out on 4K Ultra HD. And in order to sort of bolster that, Warner has gone crazy, and they are seriously, they've gone nuts. So they've released the last 4 Harry Potter films on 4K.
How many did Yates do of that series? The Harry Potter films.
Oh, he did the last 3?
Yeah,
I think it was the last 3
of that. So he carries over into Fantastic Beasts because I like the Yates Harry Potter.
I do too. No, he's a good director. He was a good find for them. I mean, a perfect fit. So anyway, we've released Fantastic Beasts and the last 4 Harry Potter films, which sort of carry into that. Now, Fantastic Beasts is a prequel.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit weird to me that the first 4 Harry Potter films have not yet been released on 4K. It's the last 4.
Yeah.
So if you want to introduce your kids to Harry Potter, you got to show them Blu-rays for the first 4 films, and then 4Ks for the next ones if you want to do it that way. But anyway, we now have 4K for the last half of the Harry Potter saga. So all of this is out.
Well, the reason why they had to do that is because you need the Harry Potter films to be a support of Fantastic Beasts
and they
roll out, because frankly, Fantastic Beasts just wasn't very good.
You know what? And let's talk about that for a second. What was it missing that the Harry Potter films had? Because look, I remember that when that first Harry Potter film, that Chris Columbus film, is just a boring mess. It's just terrible. And eventually it got less Chris Columbus-y and more British-y as they kind of moved on. They started getting English directors.
Who's the second one?
Quaron was the second one.
And
very, very good.
Yeah.
And it eventually kind of found its sea legs. I still think Prisoner of Azkaban is the best one.
But you know what I think it really is with respect to the Harry Potter films is that they follow the books in chronological order.
Yeah.
And the books get better as they go.
Yeah.
She becomes a better writer.
That's interesting. It's a good point.
It all deepens and darkens as they go. That happens in the actual narrative of the book, so it shows up in the movies, and then like you said with the directors and whatnot, and there it is. It is nevertheless strange to me though that Fantastic Beasts feels more like that first Harry Potter film.
It does, doesn't it?
It's more childish, and it wants to be kinder and
gentler
and gentler and all that. And I'm like, but you know what? Look, we've killed 4 or 5 kids. I know we technically haven't yet, because
but you've already ruined my innocence.
Yeah, so
you can't be a child. Yeah,
you can't do that.
So, from year 5, we've got Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Year 6, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And then Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, parts 1 and 2. Year 7, and then Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. That's how all this shakes out. Piled sky high with extras in every single case. Extras primarily on the Blu-ray here, not on the 4K. There's just not enough room on 4K discs for all these extras now. That's one of the shortcomings of 4K, is that you're pretty much limited to the movie and only the movie. But there's some really good stuff on Fantastic Beasts, I gotta say. The extras that are on the Harry Potter films, you by and large you've seen all of them already. But there's this. There's some really, really interesting featurette stuff on Fantastic Beasts. Is actually more interesting than the movie itself. Here's my question for you, Tim. Do you think that Fantastic Beasts, in terms of its backstory, adds anything? Going back to watch the Harry Potter movies, if you assume that backstory of Newt's,
and all of that,
does that do anything? Does it make those films more interesting, or not really?
Not really.
No,
the thing that I liked about Fantastic Beasts is that it was set in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, in I guess quasi turn of this. When it was, what was it, turn of the century or something like
that?
Yeah. And that was an interesting twist, but they didn't do a whole lot with it. But no. Look, I'm sorry. I'd love to throw in and say, all of these together, but no, you don't ever need to see Fantastic Beasts.
No,
not ever.
Now let's talk about Assassin's Creed. Now, Mark and I covered the Blu-ray of this. They went and sent us a 4K on this. First of all, let me just say the 4K on all the Harry Potter stuff, primo. Warner Brothers totally kills it. It's all reference standard stuff. Really, really outstanding. There's not a bad transfer anywhere in there. So Warner is really raising the bar on 4K at this point. I don't think anybody else is in Warner's ballpark. Not even close. Fox and Universal are trying to. Universal doesn't send us any 4K stuff yet because they're pulling their punches. Fox does, but I gotta say, Warner is head and shoulders above Fox in the 4K department. Much better crew.
You have 2 discs here. Were you a gamer of this one?
No, we hated the movie, but
didn't care for the movie either. Like Jeremy Irons' performance.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed. Yeah,
it's always interesting to see these sort of exceptional actors, Fassbender, Cotillard, Jeremy Irons in this particular case, sort of roaming through these sort of big crazy movies that come out of the gaming world or whatever, sometimes the graphic novel world, and see what they do with this material. Generally speaking, it can be good sometimes. Jeremy Irons is doing that thing that I like when he's simply playing it like Shakespeare. As far as he's concerned, he's not in some big goofy movie about assassins and everything. He's just doing some wacky Shakespeare that they just found and unearthed, and he just sort of plays it like that. Other than that, I don't know, not so much. But it's an okay film. Lots of stuff on there to this set.
Yeah, it's a good looking 4K. It's just not a good movie.
Yeah.
All right, one more 4K this week. Because the Smurfs 2 is coming out soon.
I know.
Honestly, what are they thinking? So we now have the Smurfs in 4K Ultra HD. I don't even know where to go with this.
Bluer than ever.
I just don't even know why this exists in the world. When I stopped watching Saturday morning television? When I realized I was too old to watch Smurfs. That was it. Seriously, I remember the whatever year it was that the Smurfs came on. That was the year I stopped watching Saturday morning television because I thought to myself, if Electra Woman and Dyna Girl were still on, I'd be totally into that because I kind of think Dyna Girl is hot.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've told Mark. We talked about this in the show. Did I ever tell you that Dyna Girl's husband was once my chiropractor?
No.
I never told you that.
I don't
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll tell the story again. Mark knows the story. The listeners know the story. Years ago, I was in an accident. Christy and I were both in an accident. Got rear-ended by a guy in a truck.
I remember that.
Well, there's been a few of them, but this was a guy in a truck rear-ended us. We're turning into a parking lot. Anyway, it was a horrible thing. Really got back was just messed up, and so I went to this chiropractor, and he started. I'm like, I'm a film critic. Oh, my wife's an actress. Oh, that's right. Whose isn't, right? This is L.A. Yeah. Oh, that's fabulous. What commercial did she do 10 years ago? You just get very cynical. And he goes, yeah, she was on a TV show once. I was like, oh, really? Which one? He goes, Electra Woman and Dyna Girl. My pubescent ears perked up. I was like, really? He goes, yeah. You ever heard of the show? I was like, yeah, I heard of the show. He goes, well, she played Dyna Girl. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. Stop the presses. My chiropractor is married to Dyna. You scored Dyna Girl? You? My very ordinary. How did you score? And he whips out his wedding photo. And there's my chiropractor in a bad white suit standing next to Dyna Girl in a wedding dress. It was fantastic.
That's fantastic.
So Dyna Girl's husband was my chiropractor.
I quit watching Saturday morning animation when most of it stopped being live action. Because when I was looking, most Saturday morning it was live action of one sort or another. Maybe Muppets or something like that, but live action-ish.
Yeah.
And then by the late 70s, it was all...
Well, Smurfs is what did me in. So anyway, we got 4K Smurfs. I really don't know the point to this. Does it look good? Yeah, it's meticulous animation. I mean, I'll give them that. It's really, really great animation, but I just don't get it. You got a Blu-ray with the movie and special features, and then a 4K disc with the movie only. This is from Sony, and it's just for example. You know what they call the bloopers on this thing? They have an outtake reel. They are blooper, BLUE. Oh gosh, stop it! The whole thing. It's just really insufferable. All right. Well, anyway.
Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
Taking a look at Rogue One here, Blu-ray DVD. Look, first of all, Rogue One prequel. I didn't think it was the worst movie in the world, but frankly, again, I've seen this movie already. I saw it in 1977 when you called it Star Wars. I saw it again. Anyway, it's perfectly fine. Sort of sets everything up nicely. This looks fantastic.
It is.
You got to be a fan, though. Look, if you're not a fan of this stuff, then you don't really have any reason to go here whatsoever. It walks you right up to the spot where you think it walks you up to. If it has one thing going for it, it's Felicity. I think she's just absolutely
She's fantastic. She's great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And I do love the whole sort of girl power thing these last 2 movies have done.
Yep.
If you're going to do something with this series of movies, then at least do that. They were very, very boy-oriented things from the middle 70s until, however long George, Barbar Jinx and all that kind of stuff. Now they're these sort of girl-oriented things.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I appreciate about the little reboots of these Star Wars things. It's not so much the stories. They are whatever they are, but it's not the most fantastic stuff in the world. This has... what does it have on it? Oh, it has all kinds of stuff on it. So, I mean, more stuff than you can begin to mention for the Blu-ray in terms of special features. So, lots of stuff to play with other than just a movie.
So, here's the thing. My little thumbnail on this. I thought the movie was better in the beginning than it was later on. I thought it gets a little sloppy. The final action scene where they're on, like planet Tahiti or whatever it was with the palm trees and the I don't know. It didn't respond to that. I'm not fond of the whole CGI. Let's recreate people who are dead for 30 years. Carrie and Peter Cushing. Peter, it looked like it was creepy to me. It's like somebody went into Madame Tussauds wax museum and somehow like zombie animated Peter Cushing's wax figure and put that in the movie.
Yeah.
Didn't feel right.
A younger and better looking sort of like Peter Cushing than Peter Cushing ever looked.
Yeah.
He never looked like that. And you're right. I wonder if it would freak me out more if I couldn't tell, though. That sort of what do they call it? The Valley of but being able to tell that they've messed with it.
Yeah.
Somehow, I don't know, whatever. But
well,
don't know.
So okay, Tim, go ahead and open the gift.
Oh, what do we have here?
They sent us something and it's wrapped like a gift. So I'm gonna make like Christmas paper.
It says Merry effing Christmas on the paper, by the way.
Oh, what is it?
And look at that. The Office Christmas Party.
Unrated.
How much more filthy could it be? It was pretty blue to begin with. I know they use all of the
It's got all kinds of additional footage that I guess would have made it NC-17. I don't think so.
I tell you, this movie took it one notch further than I ever needed to go. Yeah. That first Office Party movie was kind of funny, though.
So do you get the feeling that all they're trying to do here is just outdo Bad Santa?
Well, I was going to say those Vegas movies.
Oh yeah,
is what they're trying to outdo. But you're right. You put them all in a certain like little basket of deplorables.
So anyway, right. Jennifer Aniston, Jason Bateman are the comedy anchors for Christmas Office Party, which works blue, and
Kate McKinnon has a little bit of fun in the movie.
Anyway, so they tried
the little rapping there with the.
That's the thing that's funny. They
Christmas.
They tried to sucker us by putting it in cute wrapping paper and hope that we don't say anything bad about it. Anyway, it's a cute idea. The wrapping paper. It's cute, but somebody had to actually do that manually. I don't really understand. Anyway,
where are we going? I must tell you, Paterson, this Jim Jarmusch film. Starring Adam Driver, which to me was Adam Driver's better performance last year. He got talked about a lot for his work in Silence, which is fine. But I got to tell you, I was so surprised that this wasn't a movie that we were talking about more during that Oscar.
Bob Kohler, this was like his favorite film of the year. He loved this movie.
I truly loved the movie, too. It wasn't my favorite film of the year, but it's an outstanding film. It's very much a Jim Jarmusch film, very small.
That's the thing. Jarmusch movies never get Oscar nominations because people don't really know what to make of them.
We see I see our colleague Justin Chang is referencing back here. He called it magical. He's quite right. It's a beautiful movie about a guy named Paterson who lives in a little city called Paterson, where he is a bus driver. Only what he actually is a poet, observing the world around him and writing these beautiful little poems, almost like haikus.
The wonderful Iranian actress Golshifteh Farhani plays his girlfriend, which made me so happy because she's such an amazing actress and she's not really welcome in Iran anymore. No. She's based out of Paris, but she's such a great actress, and I hope she gets more really, really good American parts.
Very, very funny in this movie. Anyway, if in that Oscar run or awards season last year, this movie should have been there. So if you didn't see it then, go check it out now. Not a whole lot on this Blu-ray.
Ultraviolet.
You know,
if you want to add it to your ultraviolet library.
Yeah, but you know, it would have been nice. I don't know, a commentary track, a little nothing. Jarmusch is not gonna. He's
not gonna do that. Not unless he could, resurrect.
Ghost Dog.
Yeah,
something like that.
So, okay, one of the worst films I think I've probably ever seen is Why Him?
Oh man,
I can't. Okay, so the premise here, and I almost wanted to go overboard on the way that I reviewed this at the time on the radio, but I didn't. So, Why Him basically is a premise that we have seen 1,000 times. And it's a premise that grows out of the 1960s, which is the very conservative Greatest Generation dad whose precious baby girl brings home a boyfriend who is, boom, fill in the blank.
Yeah, fill in the blank.
A hippie, another race, a foreigner.
Sometimes they play it for comedy, sometimes they play it for drama, but it's the same.
It's all the same. And it starts with Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Yeah.
And it continues with All in the Family on television. And it goes right on up into more recent stuff like Meet the Parents. We've seen it a million times, and this is that movie. Except it just isn't funny anymore. Yeah. Bryan Cranston is the dad. James Franco is the prospective son-in-law, who is this weird character that doesn't exist anywhere. He's this completely lovable, guileless man-child who is an incredibly brilliant and super rich app programmer who's covered with tattoos. Where does this person come from?
He doesn't.
That person does not exist.
It's ridiculous. Look, John Hamburg made I Love You Man, which is but he made Along Came Polly, which is I'm sorry, an underrated little Jennifer Aniston, Ben Stiller thing.
I agree.
With
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
That
you and I,
we saw that.
We saw that together. I have to tell everybody, there are two moments in movies, and they're both sports related, and Tim's recreating them now. There are two moments in movies where I've been at a screening with Tim where I thought I was going to have to give him CPR because he was laughing so hard. He could not control himself.
I had to leave the room.
The first one was The Muse.
Oh my God.
Where Albert Brooks and Jeff Bridges are playing tennis, and Jeff Bridges cannot, to save his soul, hit the tennis ball over the net. And it's all off screen. You're just watching Albert Brooks waiting to return serve, and all you hear is Jeff Bridges just talking, and you hear tink.
It hits the net.
It hits the net every single time.
It goes on, and he just puts it into the net like 40 times in a row, and he looks at his racket, and he looks at it. It's just so funny.
It doesn't work.
This one is the basketball scene.
The basketball scene with Philip Seymour Hoffman, who cannot, it's similarly inept, who is acting as if he is the NBA #1 draft reigning, and everything he throws at the backboard,
it's like he's throwing baseballs.
He's just hitting the backboard at full speed.
So
he can't hit it. It's just horrible. He's just dreadful.
Sometimes little gems just.
Anyway, John Hamburg directed that, and he has chops, but Why Him is not the movie he should be doing.
It's like Meet the Parents. I mean, that's his, but he gets it right, and then it just sort of goes away.
And by the way, Ben Stiller is a producer on Why Him as well. I mean that pedigree is still there. We Don't Belong Here is an interesting little movie that is noteworthy primarily because it was one of Anton Yelchin's last films, if not his very last film. I'm not sure which, if it was this or the Star Trek movie. I don't know which one was actually shot first or second or whatever. But this is a really a sweet independent that is would otherwise not be quite as melancholy as it is. But it's about a dysfunctional family. Anton Yelchin's a kid. Catherine Keener's his mom. He's got 3 sisters, and they are. They're trying to kind of do what families in independent films always do, trying to reconcile themselves to all of the issues that beleaguer this family. And some really good supporting performances here, especially by Molly Shannon and Maya Rudolph, former SNL actresses, who show up here and do really, really good work as well. Carrie Elwes is another one. I think this is a sharp little movie. It kind of disappeared, but We Don't Belong Here. It's on DVD from Sony. If you can find it, I definitely recommend you at least give it a rental.
Yeah. Youth in Oregon, which has a really fantastic cast.
Yeah.
here, anchored by Frank Langella. Directed by Joel David Moore, who people will know. He's an actor. He was in Avatar. Tall skin guy. Interesting guy. For whatever reason, this movie with Billy Crudup and Mary Kay Place and Josh Lucas and Christina Applegate and like I said, Frank Langella does not work. And they're all working really hard at it. It's always just a little vexing to me when that happens. It's about this guy who has to drive his father-in-law cross country to Oregon, Frank Langella, because you can get yourself euthanized in Oregon.
Right.
And right there, you already know that the movie is about getting Frank a reason not to get himself euthanized in Oregon. That's what the movie's going to be about. If you kill Frank in Oregon, then it's a really fucked up movie. You know what I'm saying? So you can't kill Frank in Oregon, which means that the only thing that can happen in this trip is all kinds of little cute, quirky crap. To bring him around, and it does. And no, dude, no, because I can tell you that. That's why you don't do it.
Yeah.
But Joel David didn't know that. Anyway, DVD here, and not much else on it. If you're a big fan of those people, what the heck?
All right, Tim. We got 3 LGBT titles. We've got classic movies. What do we hit first? Let's do those.
Let's jump over here. Well, one of these, A Little Lust. A Little Lust. It's Veronica Peretti's first film. It's kind of LGBT, but it's really, and it is about homophobia, but it's also about bullying. It's about a 16-year-old boy who is, trying to do what all 16-year-old boys are trying to do, get laid. He's trying to get laid by this other really cute boy. But more importantly, he is witness to and engaged in this sort of bullying dynamic that's going on in the school. And that's the more interesting thing about this movie is the bullying thing. A lot of times we think that that's only relevant within whatever culture it is that we're in. But it's a thing no matter what's going on. The gay kids are bullying the crap out of each other too. And it's sort of interesting. Italian with English subtitles, TLA releasing. Not a whole lot else on it, but it is incredibly, not incredibly, but it's fairly, I will call it fairly funny, actually, is what I'll say about it. Then we have Fairhaven. It's about a young man who comes back to his family farm after having been gone for a very, very long time. He went to one of those sort of gay conversion therapy farm kind of things, which is all in the news now. It's sort of like it's a thing that people are talking about. Interesting again, Tom Wopat in the film, sort of playing the father, Bruce Greenwood.
Tom Wopat, huh?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him for a while.
Would love me some Tom Wopat. Josh Green, Gregory Harrison also in the film. It's an interesting subject. This is a little on the nose for me. It has no gray areas in it, so that's a little tough for me. Director's commentary and some behind the scenes stuff, deleted scenes, cast interviews, and Tom Wopat, who also is a pretty good sort of country singer.
Tom Wopat's a great singer.
Yeah, guitar playing singer. I'm glad you know. I like that. Does a song for the film, and that song is also on the DVD here. Fairhaven, pretty neat. Right there, and then if I'm not mistaken, I've got one more here called Bromance. And Bromance, well, this one is a little bit more. This is the gayest of the gay films we have here. Oh. It's extremely gay, which is only my way of saying that the sort of physical relationships are at the forefront of this movie. Which is actually something that I sort of like sometimes when I see these films. I like it sometimes when the films are not about any anguish whatsoever that's related to being gay. Nobody's.
When they don't overplay it.
They don't overplay it. Nobody's coming out. Everybody's already out. Everybody's.
Brokeback Mountain kind of could fall into that a little bit.
To a certain extent. To a certain extent, and that's where this one is. This is it's sexy. It's funny. It's romantic. But these are just gay guys hanging around being gay the way gay guys are gay. Yeah. And it's funny when it's funny, and a little bit of drama and all that kind of stuff. But that's all it really is. Neat. Again, TLA by Lucas Santana Anna. Very interesting.
So before we get to the classic movies, I got some kid vid here. Haven't done kid vid in a while, so I can go through this pretty quickly. People who have kids, as I do. Here are some things to be recommended, not recommended. Got a new version of Heidi out with Bruno Ganz, of all people.
Is Shirley Temple?
No, this is brand new. Brand new
Really?
Heidi. This is a brand new Heidi.
I missed that.
I've seen probably 17 or 18 different variations on this tale. I grew up with it. My mother, of course, was German, so I know this story inside out, upside down. And it's been done, never great. And this one's still not great, but it's okay. It's better than most. And Bruno Ganz is terrific. I mean, Bruno Ganz, of course, played Hitler, most famously, and also played an angel in Wings of Desire. He's a great actor, fantastic Swiss actor.
Actually, that grandfather was kind of an ass at the beginning of the movie. He really is. Yeah, so that's
but this is this is not bad. This is Studio Canal made this, and it's in German with English subtitles. But you also have an English language track, so I mean it's good. It's good. It's from Film Movement. We also have a new Peppa Pig. 9 more Peppa-sodes, which are all just great. My daughter doesn't really love Peppa Pig as much as she used to. She's much more into Disney princesses now, which we call warriors because my wife insists on it. But there's some fun episodes here, and it's still really sweet. And I keep hoping, but odds are I'm probably going to watch most of the Peppa now. And Elmo and Cookie Monster, supersized fun. This is Sesame Street, 3 hours of just various episodes and bits and things with Elmo and Cookie Monster. There's really no consistent theme to it. It's just let me put it this way: the only one here that I really really love is Elmozilla, which is terrifying. When Elmo is the size of Big Bird,
I'm not so cute anymore.
I'm a dad. I want Elmo to be small enough for me to step on. I don't want him to be big enough to step on me.
He's too dumb to be that big.
Yeah. 32 Peanuts shorts in Snoopy Tales. These are brand new Snoopy shorts, which I don't think are particularly great. It's fine. If you have to be a Peanuts completist, it misses a little bit of the charm that it originally had. But Snoopy is always good for a laugh. I'm glad these aren't, longer, but anyway, it's the first time it's ever been on DVD. They even put a sticker on there to remind you of it. The Swan Princess, Royally Undercover. This is fine. This is not really, the original Swan Princess movie was an attempt by an animation company to former Disney animators back in '93, I think it was, to create a new animation powerhouse. And it didn't really work. I was at the Cannes Film Festival the year they launched that thing, and they threw a banquet for the press that was not to be believed. I mean, they spent a huge amount of money, rented out a castle. It was an amazing Disney-like experience launching that movie, and they just didn't have any money left to make anything else good. The movie was not particularly great. It was directed by Richard Rich, one of the former Disney animators, and but they have been able to sort of perpetuate this. The company is Nest Entertainment. So here we are 25 years later, and Nest is still riding on the Swan Princess. They're still working it. And this time in collaboration with Sony, who releases all these things. This is all CGI animated now. It kind of looks like Sophia the First on the Disney Channel. And it's perfectly fine, but there's nothing mythical about it. Does the
story stay the same?
Not at all. This is all new stuff.
Okay.
This is all new stuff, very modern. It's in that Sophia the First vein. Kate and Mim-Mim, musical Mimiloo. I still think Mim-Mim is a creepy purple rabbit that doesn't really look like a rabbit, looks more like an alien, but there's 3 episodes on here for people who like that show. Monster High consistently sets a very high bar, H-I-G-H, that's a pun, for Blu-ray animated stuff, and this Blu-ray DVD combo set with Ultraviolet is keeping in that vein. Electrified. It's the same as all the other ones. It continues to be very sharp, some good writing, very good animation. Space Pop, Princess Power. Animated princesses in this rather otherwise very, very mediocre kind of female spin-off that fuses Josie and the Pussycats with Power Rangers and is not as interesting as either of them. Speaking of Power Rangers, which is in theaters now, and people are not liking very much, are they?
No.
Too violent?
Yeah. And, noisy movie, it just moves around way too much.
Yeah.
Is that thing,
Yeah. Well, anyway, Dino Supercharge Extinction, Volume 2, 10 episodes, more of the same. This marriage between the World Wrestling Entertainment and
Donald Trump?
No. And Warner Brothers Animation is very weird. Hanna-Barbera we get like Scooby-Doo and wrestlers teaming up.
So it's like Jetsons?
This is the Jetsons versus the WWE and Robo-Wrestlemania original movie. It's very strange. The WWE, if that's still in existence in like 350 years when we're zipping around and it's just very odd. But it's an alliance that apparently has been paying dividends because wrestling fans love them some animation.
Yeah, but the Jetsons?
Scooby-Doo?
Okay.
I don't get it. Flintstones?
I'm going to stay out of it. I'm staying out of it.
From Paw Patrol, Nickelodeon, Pups Save the Bunnies. This is really for little kids. Even my daughter looks at this and says, "Yo, you think I'm a baby?" Seriously. And also from Nickelodeon, but skewing much older, are Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Super Shredder. This is a little bit on the scary end. I was surprised at how kind of violent and graphic this was. There are like 10 episodes here, 11 episodes, and it's great animation, surprisingly good, but they're really kind of pushing the envelope with that. And then lastly, a quartet of PBS kids shows. Panda-Monium from the Wild Kratts. Odd Squad, the movie, live action. Don't like Odd Squad very much. It's kind of pretentious kids. From Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, Daniel Visits the Farm. That score's even younger. My daughter won't even talk to me anymore if I make her watch that. And Dinosaur Train, What's at the Center of the Earth, which is a lot of fun. Dinosaur Train, which is a collaboration with Henson, is really a very fun show. Dinosaurs, you learn about dinosaurs. It's very educational, and the characterizations are fun. Really enjoy that show. All right, Tim, let's talk about classic movies. What do we got?
Let's see. What do you want to start with? They want to start with September Storm?
Yeah, let's do that.
So, September Storm, Byron Haskin film. So anyway, this is about this guy. I remember this movie. This is from like 1960 or something like that. Yeah. This is a movie about this guy, black and white film, who working on this yacht. And he has this big, beautiful yacht. Only it's not his yacht. He's working for this other guy. He has these two buddies, and he lets his buddies talk him into going out to find this sunken treasure using his boss's yacht, which is already a very clever sort of story dynamic. That's got to go all wrong for a whole bunch of different reasons, but it's sort of neat in that way. Anyway, it was in 3D way back in the day. I think one of the first iterations of 3D, maybe the second iteration of 3D,
yep,
or a carryover from that sort of mid-50s 3D. In any case, it's a really, really neat kind of movie. I like it quite a lot. There is, in fact, a big, gigantic storm in the movie, and it's kind of dripping. It's a high seas adventure kind of thing that's going on there. All kinds of special features on this, including some theatrical trailers from way back in the day, a black and white spot, an animation, some other 3D shorts, an interview from Tony Solomon, and from director Lewis Gilbert, who I've always been a Lewis Gilbert fan.
Yep.
So pretty neat. That's from Kino Classics.
Very nice. And then also from Kino, we have Philip Kaufman's The Wanderers.
Oh, Ken Wall, dude.
That's
my first Ken Wall movie.
Yeah.
Who went on to play the wise guy.
Wise guy on television, yeah. And Philip Kaufman, of course, The Right Stuff, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Unbearable Lightness of Being, Henry and June, one of my all-time favorite directors. I mean, just an amazing talent.
Philip Kaufman is the guy that created, because of him, the NC-17 because of Henry and June.
He also created Indiana Jones. People don't realize that. That was his character. He was sitting around on vacation with George Lucas at some point, and they just started talking about it. And he's the guy that came, apparently, alleged, as the story goes, he's the one that came up with Indiana Jones, which is why he gets the co-story credit on Raiders of the Lost Ark.
But everybody still thinks it's just a Steven Spielberg movie.
Nope. It was Lucas and Kaufman. In any case, The Wanderers is a really sharp film. Also has Karen Allen in it, very young Karen Allen, and it's just really sharp. From 1979, feels much more like an 80s movie. They did a complete 2K restoration on this, and it just looks beautiful. It's absolutely fantastic. It takes place in 1963. Has that whole period vibe to it. It's just a really, really, really great film. And
that was a Richard Price novel,
Yes, it was. And this includes not only the 2-hour release version, but the the non-theatrical preview cut, which was 6 minutes longer. This has that on it as well. And that's kind of a legendary lost film in some quarters because there's some stuff in it which I won't mention, but there's some relevant stuff in it. So serious fans of Kaufman and film history in general will just get such a kick out of this. It is such a perfect period recreation of and such a fascinating movie.
A John Wayne classic here, Dakota. A film that I really, really like because of what it's about.
Yep.
This film is set during that period in the late 1870s when the railroad people, the oil people, and the cattle people, the land barons were all going at it.
Yep.
And what was more or less a sort of wild west, crooked this and crooked that, and they're fighting over the town of Fargo.
Yeah.
Who is going to control Fargo? Will it be the wheat farmers? Will it be these? And that stuff is really interesting because there's a lot of history in that stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of the reasons why our nation looks the way it looks today has to do with the kind of stuff that's going on in this movie.
It's fascinating.
Not to mention this is just a rip-roaring badass movie. Audio commentary by Western historian Toby Rohn, which I think is an interesting thing they brought in that Western historian to talk about it. Joseph Kane directs. 1945, this film. In my mind, this film was older. In my mind, I thought this film was from the mid-30s.
Right.
But no, 1945. So there you go.
And the last two from the Kino Classics line, 1972's very underrated ZPG, Zero Population Growth, which is Oliver Reed and Geraldine Chaplin.
Geraldine Chaplin. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of something else.
This is very much in that dystopian vein that we were getting at the time, right? Soylent Green, Omega Man, Logan's Run. There was a lot of stuff in that time that was very much of that vein, and this is in keeping with that. Oliver Reed is creepy as can be in this thing, and Geraldine Chaplin, just a few years after Dr. Zhivago, terrific as well. It's much more like a kind of a 70s version of Brave New World. Very, very, very cool. So this has an audio commentary by historian Steve Reifel and a trailer gallery that's really, really a blast from the past. Interesting movie, fascinating, really like it a lot, highly recommend it. And then lastly,
you got another one over there?
Yeah, then lastly we got this. We're going to have to pop that to next week. I think we're going to run out of time here. But Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat is finally out on Blu-ray. Hitchcock has his cameo in here on the back of a newspaper.
My favorite Tallulah Bankhead.
It's great. So, but otherwise, this is, it all takes place on a lifeboat. It's a bit of an experiment, but it's worth checking out. It's not Hitchcock's best film, but a lot of people really, really love it. It was right before he made the big jump to bigger, more elaborate thrillers. Came on the heels of Rebecca. Very interesting movie, but not a great film. Has a commentary by a film historian and some interesting interviews, and another commentary by a film professor named Drew Casper. And that's it. We will see you next week.
All right.